Hey, before I step back, hello. I don't know if you could see this, but my shirt is like doused in coffee, all here, all here. It's mostly dry now because I had to do some stuff between when that happened and making this video. But I wanted to tell you about it because, again, sadly, we don't have smell-o-vision, so you cannot enjoy how much I smell like coffee. Uh, but I need to give a shout out to my friend Frank, who we have this tradition of when we're drinking a mug of coffee from our house in our car while we're driving with no lid. We also try to make a video to each other about that fact because it's comical that we are doing all that at once. And today, I wasn't driving, also, which makes this even worse. It was the first time I've ever spilled it on myself, and it was all over me. It was just terrible. The only good thing about the situation was Camilla was still in the house and was I was able to call her and get her to bring me a towel because it was bad. Anyway, but I'm still wearing the same clothes because I cannot be bothered with anything once something like this happens to me for the day. No, I'll get changed after this before real people have to be around me. Um, I also needed to record that story because I have another friend who does these videos almost every day, so has to like double back to old ones all the time and really loves making fun of me about these stories. Like, remember that time when you, which is great because it's like having that Facebook, this is what happened 5 years ago popped up, but it's one of your friends like ranking on you. Nothing's better than that in life. Okay, let's exercise. I'm going to look at my time now to make sure you actually get a half hour workout. It's 8:51 where I am right now. Let's start out standing today. Feet parallel, hip width apart. And go ahead and put your hands on your hips for now. I want you to rock your weight from your left foot to your right foot, powering it from down at your ankles. If I did take my hands away from my hips, you'll see it looks almost like a shearing force, like I'm a typewriter just going across. We're going old school today. All right, now I'm going to turn sideways to you. Keep your weight over your heels. And now we're going to hinge forward at the hips, tipping the sit bone up to power the movement, and then pushing the weight down into the heels and activating the glutes to rise back up. Hands at your hips is still helpful, especially if you keep them right on your hip bones. You're tipping the pelvis to hinge forward, and I want you to be able to use your all the muscles in your torso, let's say, to keep your back neutral as you go up and down. So you can begin with that compression at the abdominal wall just so you can sense your torso. That's another great thing about like using your breath to contract your core. It's not even about the exercise that we're doing. It's just about bringing attention into an area. Like we have to figure out like what landmarks we can sense to know we're doing this right. So down here, just while you're identifying it, the sit bone pulling up away from the heel is how we get the hamstring sensation of stretching or feeling longer. And then what we're creating up here to stay neutral is like the abs contracting, all the shoulder blade stability, like really your basic principle stuff that we're always applying and just feeling its effect, like the isometric contraction while you go up and down. All right, open your feet just a little wider. Guess who feels like talking a lot today? It wasn't just the anecdote. Apparently, I'm in that mood. Up and down with those arms. Just taking nice big breaths. Thinking about no specificity at all. Two more times. Maybe coffee works differently when it goes into you via your fabric's friction against your skin than it does when you drink it. Um, Down to the floor, shall we? Let's do some Pilates. Okay, kneeling on your hands and knees. Let's begin with your shoulder blades. Why don't we play around with a couple small isolations to then feel their effect in the bigger exercises? So start with your back flat or neutral, feeling the top of your head reaching away from your sit bones. And we're going to isolate your scapula, bringing your shoulder blades closer together and farther apart. When you breathe in, retract them. So they're going to slide in towards your spine and your chest will sink a bit. Exhale, try to push into your hands, press away from the floor, and let your shoulder blades glide apart again. Breathe in, bring them closer together. Breathe out, spread them apart. I want you to be thinking of this, that the challenge of this is to make a gliding motion and to keep it small, as in imagine the middle of the range of everything you could do. Take like 15% off each edge, because that's likely the range you can really isolate the movement to the scapula without changing the shape of your spine. Like this shouldn't be a cat stretch. See, I'm just kind of going up and down. Smaller will always make you more successful, and in the mid-range will always make you more successful as a place to start. And then we can work towards feeling, am I really at the edge of what I can do right later? Right now, I'm just trying to bring attention into different areas and just get sensation there. Make sure you feel what's going on. Now, if we do that at your low back, if we do that at your low back, this would be like us doing imprint, which you often do laying down, but imprint upside down, where we're just getting that beginning of the initiation of the pelvic movement. So if you're an animal with a tail, it's sticking out when you start, and then when you exhale, you're going to shorten your oblique abdominals. So that's going to create a small pelvic tilt like you were tucking your tail down. And then when you inhale, you're going to stick your tail back out. Exhale, tuck the tail, draw the abs in a little. Inhale, return. So back to the idea of small. I'm trying to feel the rest of my body while I do this and make the motion so small that it doesn't bring the rest of my body into the movement. So you can see my ribs stay the same, my shoulder blades stay flat on the ribs, my head and neck just stay looking at the floor. And one more time, so that little tilt, and the smaller it is, the more you'll have sensation here because your obliques do the small range of this motion. Now, let's see if we can feel the little feelings as we put it into something big, the cat stretch, of course. So first, press away from the floor and just feel the stabilization of your shoulder blades. Take an inhale and feel the length of your spine, head away from tail. When you exhale, do that same small tilt of your pelvis, and then let it get bigger and feel how it starts to drag the middle of your spine into the flexion. So you're going to push the mid back up. Now spread your shoulder blades apart and drop your head. Stay there and take a breath in. So when we exhale, let's start at the tail again. So we're just going to stick that fake tail out. Let it start to drag the mid back to neutral. Lift your head. Now, pause there for a sec. We're not quite done. So now you're back where you started. We're going to go past that, and I want you to tip your sit bones up, lift your chest, lift your chin. Let's go into extension and just feel it. For those of you that exercise a lot, like do this slow with me. Like just sense it in a different way than you usually do. Take a breath in. Let it expand your chest. Now, when you exhale, find those abs again. So to find them, we've got to like dig in deep and compress first, then start to tuck. When we go to extension, we put them in a slightly like elongated position we have to work through. Round your spine, drop your head. Hold there, breathe into the back of the body. Exhale, stick out your tail, compress your abs, hug your ribs together, lift your chest, lift your chin. Feel here how your sit bones get a little wider. Breathe in, keep lifting your heart. Exhale, tuck your tail under. I'm going to smooth this out so we don't have to go painfully slow the whole workout. Drop your head. Hold there. Try to feel expansion through the back of the body. And then exhale, stick out your tail, flatten your back, lift your heart, lift your chin. Just one more time. Exhale, tuck your tail under, pull the abs up around your spine. Stay there and breathe in. And then roll it back out. Tail to head, always pressing away from the floor. All right, toes curled under. Let's try a little weight shift. Now, I've got my knees about hip width apart. I'm going to have you bring them a little closer together, but still not touching each other. Spread your fingertips apart really wide. And then just for a second, if you can on your wrist, just shift forward a bit so you feel load in your fingertips and your knuckles and the heels of your hands. Okay, now that's a lot of extension on your wrist, so just come back off that a little bit, but still push down in your fingers the same way you felt a second ago. All right, you're going to take a breath in to prepare. On your exhale, push into your fingertips and then your toes and lift your knees just an inch or two off the mat. Stay there for a breath in and just feel your back. Try to get yourself as neutral as possible. Exhale, place your knees back down. All right, so where are those small things in this exercise? So when you start to push away with your hands, before you actually pick your knees up, feel your ribs pressing against your shoulder blades. So that's what the pushing into your hands is for. Now, when you press into your toes, it's letting you drive the weight back a little bit so you can get it off your knees. So almost feel like you're shifting back when you pick them up. Stay there for a breath in. And then exhale, you still have to feel those arms pushing away from the floor, controlling coming back down, okay? Breathe in at the bottom. So I'm going to start with the hands, shoulder blades stable, abs drawn in. So now I'm not trying to tuck, I'm just working isometrically to keep this alignment. Hold here, breathe in, and then exhale to come back down. 2 more times. Breathe in at the bottom. Start the breath. Press away with the arms. Now slightly shift back towards the toes to pick those knees up. Hold here. Breathe in. Can you use your breath to get longer through your spine? Exhale. Compress the abs again. Come back down. 1 more time. Shifting forward. Now use the hands to stabilize the shoulders and shift you back over your toes. Hold to breathe in. Exhale to come back down. Untuck your toes. We're going to twist into a little thread the needle. Exhale for 3. Butt stays tipped up. 2. Further for 1. Inhale back to center. Other side. Shifting back 3. Okay, so we just worked your wrists. This is a nice relaxing exercise. But you could keep tension in your wrists if you don't think about letting it go and think about your weight going back to your hips. So if you're one of them people, pay attention there. Like get into it, assess, and try to release it as part of the wringing out. Like breathe it out of you. Back to center. 1 more to each side. And 3. Deeper. 2. And further. 1. Back to center. 1 more time. 3. And 2. And 1. Back to the middle. All right, down onto your back. Okay. Ooh, sorry. Let's do a set of the ab prep, but let's tie in some arm circles so I'm getting 2 things done at once. Follow me through this breathing. When you breathe in, reach your arms overhead about halfway towards the floor. When you exhale, you're going to circle your arms and curl up your head and shoulders. As you inhale, lay your head down and reach overhead. Exhale, circle the arms and flex forward. Inhale, lay back. When you flex your upper body, let those blades spread apart a little bit. Now, lay down and reach your arms overhead, but let's reverse the circle. So the arms are going to go up and then down to your hips when you flex, and then you're going to draw the circle on the way back down. Same breathing though. Exhale, arms lead, flex forward, look toward your thighs. Inhale, circle the arms, lay the head down. Exhale, curl up. Keep your eyes open and keep gazing to your thighs as you lay your head down. So you kind of go through a little chin tuck. All right, now you're going to go up to the top and stay. Exhale, round forward. Leave your arms long by your sides. Let's do some pulses. Rock back by a rib when you inhale. Exhale, reach forward again. Just keep exploring that. Inhale back, exhale forward, but always looking at the same spot between the knees. Now check your pelvis. I want you to try to stay neutral. So it's a slightly heavier pubic bone. 1 more time. And all the way down. Sorry I threw that thought in at the end. We're going to do another set. That should be all you're thinking about now. All right, inhale before you go. Exhale, just curl forward. I forgot to do anything with your arms. Inhale, rock back a little. Exhale, lift. So to stay with neutral for me, I try to push that pubic bone down every time I curl up like I was blowing the air there and making it fall through the force of breath. Let's do 3 and 2 and 1. Come all the way down. Just give me another arm circle without doing a crunch because I just feel like I robbed you of moving your arms once. Okay, flip over to the other side. And here we are again. Make a W shape with your arms. Let's just sense your extension potential with your upper spine. Before you go up, we're going to begin in a hover, and I want you to activate parts of your body. Press your forearms down into the floor and just gently push your ribs against your shoulder blades like we've been practicing. Now with the legs, very gently push down with the top of your feet to the floor, just enough to like sense how the quads, the front of your thighs, are what are actively keeping your knees straight. It's not just because you're laying them down, okay? Then, when you breathe in, reach the crown of your head away from your toes so you accent a little more like of the feeling long. And then when you exhale, you're going to lift your head and chest away from the mat, and we're going to articulate 1 rib at a time till just 1 or 2 ribs are left, and you should still be down on your forearms for support. Then when you exhale, you're going to come back down, letting your ribs sink 1 at a time, then your neck and head. Take an inhale at the bottom, get longer. When you exhale, start to lift with your gaze leading. So you're going to look towards the end of the mat. Now give pressure into your forearms and pull the shoulder blades back. Now push your chest forward as you commit those bottom two ribs to glue to the mat. When you breathe in, use the expansion through the chest to get all that air in, and then exhale, compress the abs, lower back down. One more time. Inhale, get longer. Exhale, start to lift up. Open your collarbones wider as you pull your shoulder blades towards the mid-back. Stay here. Breathe in. And as you come down, draw yourself forward. Put space between each rib as you place them into the mat. See if you could feel the effect of that all the way down to the toenails and relax. All right, now we're going to go from extension to superhero a few times. So take an inhale while you come up and let the big full breath lift you into that buoyant upper pose. When you exhale, compress your abs, go down to a hover and reach your arms overhead. Now get connected with the compression force. Breathe in, catch yourself on your arms, expand and lift up. And then exhale, draw your ribs together and down to hold you in that hover. Inhale, lift, pull the blades back, get them out of the way. And then exhale, reach overhead. Your shoulders should shrug. One more time. Inhale up and exhale back to hover. Good. Let's come up again on your inhale and then come all the way back down. Okay. Now I want you to take your arms overhead, but with your hands down. And again, we'll give a little force into them so you're just very slightly propped up into your hover. I'm going to have you make a rainbow with one arm at a time, and you could just follow me right into this. As the arm goes up, you're going to lift a little higher on that side. We won't get the full height of it because you're going to rotate your head at the same time and look back towards your leg, and then you're going to drop all the way down. Now I'll have you go to the other side. So let the arm do a rainbow. Just lift up as much as it's comfortable. And when I say lift up, I also just so you know what to expect, really the feeling's almost like you were going to start turning over. Like if I was going to roll but lead from here, that is the energy of it. I just went a little too far. So you don't want to take the hip up. That's your limit. So I'm going to glue the hip down so I don't quite get that turn. And then back down. Sometimes I exaggerate stuff to show you, and it just end up doing it wrong. And then back down. And up and over and down. Okay, now we're going to change that up. Now take your arms out to the sides, but I still need you to push down and hold yourself up if you want to continue to breathe. Open your legs so they're about as wide as your shoulders with your toes turned out. And then you're going to alternate bending one knee and like picking your knee up a little and then laying it back down. And then the other side, lifting it up a little and laying it back down. And up and then back down and left. Okay, now bend your knee, rotate, and keep pushing down into your hand to give you your opposition, and then come back down. So this is called the scorpion. So I'm going to plant one hand as the anchor. I'm going to bend the knee and reach across to the other shoulder to turn the hip. My head is going to look towards the hand. That's the anchor. Bend your knee. Start to rotate, spiraling through, and unravel till your leg is straight. And then pick up the hip. Let the shoulder and head follow. And lower back down. Let's do 4 more of these. I'm not giving you a breathing pattern on this one because I kind of feel like you should. Expect to move slower than one breath. So if you just breathe, you linger when you get there, you just feel the contrast of pushing and pulling yourself with movement. It's like you're pushing with non-movement, pulling yourself with that leg, and then back down. One more time. Lifting, rotating, reaching, and then back down. Sit back in a shell stretch. Okay, take a nice big breath in. And then hold for an exhale. Draw the abs in a little bit deeper. And one more breath in. And then you can roll up into sitting. All right, let's stay seated, sideways, going into a side bend. Spread your fingertips apart again, just like we did before. We want to really utilize the whole hand. I'm going to have you take your other arm on your side. Let's begin just going up onto your knees. So you're going to press into the hands, slide your shoulder down, shift your ribs, and then lift your hips to come up into a side bend. And then you're going to come down with control. I want you to practice taking the load into your shoulder in that direction as well. You're going to come up and over to a side bend, and then all the way back down into that hip. One more time like that, lifting up and over, and then back down. Now, I'm going to increase the challenge of this if you would like to stay with one we were just doing. We're going to do 3 more reps. You can continue on with that. Otherwise, I'm going to have you leave your bottom leg turned out, take your top foot, put it into the little crook of your ankle, and line your hand up with your feet now, still with spread fingers. Place your drawstring arm on top of your knee. This time, we're going to straighten your legs. So as you exhale, initiate it the same way, dropping the shoulder and shifting the ribs. But now you're going to lift your hips up, squeeze your inner thighs together, go into a big side bend, and then come back down and allow your knees to turn out. Exhale as you lift up. So if you happen to be on this kind of mat with me, like the thick, Marathon, or it doesn't have to be, but these big, thick, foamy ones, do one more time. I love the additional challenge of being on this. Go up and over. The mat wants to stretch, so I feel like trying to pull it back in and not letting it stretch activates everything like that challenges you and you're aching for, but that's the best part of the exercise. Let's go to the other side. This still works on the knee down one. I don't know why it popped in my head then, but a shallow side bend or a plank would encourage like a stretching away of the ends of the mat. So the lift you're making on the bottom side, imagining your goal was to try to pull your knee and hand together once you get into the shape. If I bring more together, that's going to give me more lift and activation on the bottom side. So even if you lose that battle and the mat still stretches, I think you'll be happier with just the sensation of this. Okay, on our knees, on our hand, palm is up. You're breathing in. When you exhale, drop your working shoulder, shift your ribs, lift your hips, side bend. Inhale, come back down. And again, exhale. The more you can sense those inner thighs squeezing, the more you'll be able to access the pelvic floor and the deep abs. And inhale back down. Exhale, up and over. So get your shape. Now imagine pulling the hand towards the foot to lift you up higher here. And then back down. I meant hand towards the knee. But now I'll mean foot. If you're going to this one, just give yourself a little more room. Move your hand so it's more in line with your feet now. Palms up. Breathe in to prepare. Exhale, drop the working shoulder, shift your ribs, lift your hips, pull in to shift that weight, and then lower back down, letting your knees turn out. And again, exhale, let's go up and over. And inhale as you return. One more time. Exhale as you lift. Start it from here. Get that shoulder stable and allow the scapula to rotate. Let your head fall and then come back down. All right, let's go seated, legs out in front of you. Want to get up onto your sit bones so your feet can be flat or your toes can be off the mat for a half roll back. Arms reaching forward at chest height. Let's start with a couple regular ones just to get your pelvis rocking. Round your upper body over your legs. Take a breath in while you're here. And then when you exhale, you're going to curl your pelvis back, rocking off of your sit bones and down towards your sacrum, but only as far as you can keep the low back flexed. Inhale, dive forward over your legs. Exhale, roll yourself down. And then inhale, dive forward. As you're going back and forth, try to keep your arms parallel to the floor so they're doing like a forward-backward sawing action. 2 more times. Dive forward as you inhale. 1 more, scoop those abs and tuck up your pubic bone. Dive forward. Now, all right, so if your arms are sawing there, now your arms are going to stay in line with your ears. And so more like you're locking them into place. When you roll back, they'll reach up to the ceiling. You'll look like you've got bunny ears. Oops. And then dive forward over your knees. And again, roll back. So this is adding load to what your abs have to hold back here. Exhale as you roll back. So you may want to think about the bottom more. Tuck up the pubic bone. Find the glutes. We need those big muscles. Dive forward to help. The support of your glutes lets you work the hip flexors as they get longer. And that's really important if you're someone who sits a lot because they can tend to hold tension and grip and not be really good at working while they're letting go. 2 more times. And dive forward. 1 more this way. Roll back, dive forward. Okay, now, ready? So we get wild. We're going to add a rotation. So I want you to roll back the same way. Now you're going to circle one arm low and dive forward, and we're going to alternate every time. So as you go back, the arms are by your ears. You're going to twist to swing that arm down and around back to the front. Roll back, rotate, circle, come up onto the sit bones, roll back, rotate, flex forward. You're going to do one more each way. Roll down, tuck up the pubic bone. Now twist, scoop, follow that arm forward. Last one, roll down and rotate on the inhale, curl forward. Back up to the top, legs out straight. Where does the time go? Oh, I know, I talked it all the way. I understand. Back to my arms are a saw for a second, but turn your palms down so they're not a saw at all. Get on your sit bones, and it's okay if you need to soften your knees to do it. I want you to round forward, keeping your arms at the same height, reaching the fingertips towards the wall. Okay, let's go into a roll down from here all the way to the floor. On your exhale, start to curl your hips back. Keep your feet flexed. It would be natural to straighten your legs as you're doing this if they were bent. You're going to go all the way down till you're flat and reach your arms overhead. Now take an inhale, arms back up above your chest. Exhale, nod your chin, flex forward, round towards your legs. Get on the sit bones, soften as you need to. Inhale, begin to roll back again. Exhale, unravel and reach your arms overhead. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, nod your chin, curl forward and reach towards your legs. Remember, soften those knees, press through. Inhale, start to roll down. Unravel, reach overhead. We're going to do two more of these. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, curl forward. Inhale, begin to roll down. Reach overhead and back. One more like that. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, nod your chin. Flex forward, reach toward your legs. Now, sit on up. I want you to lean back onto your forearms. Here, it's not that you're not rolled back, but I want this to be stabilization work at your shoulders where you're pushing away from the floor with your forearms. It's just a little pelvic tilt, more like you're holding an imprint. So we just feel the shortness of the oblique supporting. And then by pushing away from the ground with your shoulders, that should let you keep your head vertical, looking forward at the wall. We're going to do a little hip twist with your knees bent. So I'm going to have you maintain that posturing and then lift your legs up one at a time into tabletop. Push yourself away from the floor one more time. I'm sure you need it. Okay. Imagine knees had the pencils pointing up to the ceiling, and we're going to draw horseshoes back and forth. So you're going to shift your legs a little bit to the left, and then you're going to start to circle them down away from you, across to the other side, and back up to the top. Now, playing with your breath, try starting this on an inhale as you go out to the side and down, and then an exhale as you go around and up. This is one where like different people find different breathing helpful. So that's one thing. Or you could go over on your exhale and drag your exhale out for most of the horseshoe and just inhale towards the end. See if one of those resonates is better for you, and I won't really boss you around. Because I think it kind of comes down to your natural strengths. People that have gripping hip flexors, like we were just talking about, might prefer one versus the other. But I don't want to guide you to that. I want you to learn your own body. How about we do one more to each side? Because I'll tell you about my body. It hates this exercise. That's why you don't see it more often. I just feel bad when I don't do things that I don't like. So here it is. Oh, relax. Now leave your feet on the floor. Put your hands here. Based on the flexibility of your wrist, hands going forward requires more flexibility. Hands turned out less, so you can go even up to that if you need to. But ideally, like try to get 45 if you can tolerate that. We're going to reverse hip roll. When you exhale, shift the weight towards your feet as you roll your hips up until your hips are about as high as your knee. This is a nice stretch in the front of your shoulders. Inhale here. Exhale, roll back down, unravel to land your hips. Breathe in. Exhale, curl your hips up. Push the knees away from the ribs. Inhale at the top. Keep looking forward at the wall. Exhale, roll down. Surrender the chest first. Let each rib follow. Let the abs hang. Let the tail hang. One more like that. Exhale, curl your hips up. Breathe in at the top. And then roll back down. We're going up again. Leg and tabletop, you're going to make a leg circle. I'll talk you there. Exhale, roll up. Let's get here first. Okay, now marching your leg, just roll through your foot, take that leg up to tabletop. Now start to circle the leg towards the midline and down away from your head. Exhale, around and up. We're going to do a total of 3 of those. Inhale, across and down. Exhale, around and up. One more time. Inhale, I've got to go the other way, by the way. Around and up. Let's reverse it. If you're getting tired, start the other way. Bring your hips lower. So you're halfway down, but still try to fight the left to right. Shifting. One more time. That's too many words for me. Okay, put that foot back down. Let's roll down. All right. One more set to the other side. Breathe in to prepare. Exhale, curl your hips up, set that bridge, little chin tuck, get that lift. Now roll through the foot, take it to tabletop. Breathe in across the center and down. Exhale, around and up. Breathe in, circle, and lift. One more time. Around and up. Let's go the other way. Inhale to start the circle. Exhale, around and up. 2, around, lift. One more time. Circle up. Release your foot down. A roll through your spine. Great. Just enough time. I really wanted to do the triceps. So when you're already tired, if you are so tired, you could do this with me. Triceps like this, where you're sitting, butt down, and you're just tapping your elbows down to the mat or coming up. Or if you're not tired enough yet and you want to make it a little harder, do it with me like this. Okay, so I'm going to roll up 3/4 of the way to the bridge, but then hang the butt. So I feel like a little more neutral in my lower body. When you breathe in, bend your elbows till your butt taps the ground, and then push back up. I'm not sorry. There's just something in my head. Person that needs to hear it hears it, and nobody else needs to know what's in my head. Down and up. Let's do 4 and 3. You are a turtle popping out of your shell. Keep lifting up out of those shoulders. Do one more time. Okay, roll down your hips. Shake out your wrist. Let's stand up to finish. It is that time to be done. All right, before we go, I'm going to lunge, of course. Okay, it's going to be, right now, we're just going to do a backward stepping lunge. I'm going to stay facing you because I want you to see front view of this today. So the first thing I want you to do, just plant your foot, just your front foot on the ground. Lift your heel up pretty high where you're using that to assess the weight being on the ball of the foot rather than the toe itself. Okay, so I want you to feel that, push to that part of the foot. With that down and the big toe as the anchor, see if you can very slightly twist the rest of your foot to spread your toes apart. And it's okay if you don't really see a big change. But do you imagine when I'm trying almost like you'd fan out cards, I'm trying to turn my foot like that, but it's not really going to go anywhere because I have the big toe glued down. Okay, so with that additional stretch open between the toes, put that foot flat. Okay, that foot stays just like that. Hands can go here, hands can go here. Let's step back with your other leg. I'm going to cough. You're going to bend your back knee on the way down. So we're keeping a vertical torso above that back thigh and step forward. And just keep repeating that, dropping down and then back up. So now back to that front foot. The reason we're doing this is to get you out of compensating for any balance sensing with just the grip of your toes. That's one tool we have. But I want you to feel the front heel as a pivot point, that you're bringing your weight back, but always still feeling that the body weight is pushing down through the back of the foot rather than the front, like I want here when I'm standing. I'm going to stay with that spot on the way down and come find it again on the way up. Just 2 more on this side. And this is great. This is actually a foot strengthening exercise, even though we still get our lunges in. but I want to give you more tools within the intrinsic foot muscles to help with your balance, like in everything you do. So let's try it on the other foot. So I've got the heel up. I'm just going to feel the weight in the ball of the foot. I'm pinning that point down and then just very, very slightly turning my foot to spread the toes and then putting the foot flat again. All right, that is our standing posture. Let's go step back into the lunge and then come up. I know you don't watch these videos to like care about how I exercise. I mean that you're doing this hopefully for you. But if you are looking at me and you'll see, I think you'll notice a significant difference on the side because it's the hurt foot, that you'll see like my body weight kind of lurching to the side at some points. So these are the kind of things you're going to work out in your own form. Of course, first priority is like don't fall. But then we have to develop the sense of like all the muscles we worked in, like the side bend. Now they're working isometrically to stop you from tipping side to side. But when there's like a weakness in the chain, like in an injury, it loses its sense of how to work all of it together as a team. And on the way down, the body's trying to find its way. So that's the part of this that's still like very personalized to you. You can relax no matter what exercises we're doing because you've got your own version of that story or whatever, you know, you're messing with today. So all that to say, I know I talked a lot today, but I think, you know, if this is something you do more than once because you're hearing this at the end of it, uh, use this anytime you like forget why you're working out and just want the kind of reminders of like, oh yeah, this is what body awareness really is in action. So I hope that was helpful because I do these to help you. And have a great day. I'll see you soon.